Hello and welcome back to the Nasty Metal Production channel here on YouTube, and welcome to another Friday review. And today I am reviewing the third full-length album from German doom metal band Wheel. It is Preserved in Time, which was released through Cruz del Sur Music on April 9th of this year, through of course on the formats being whether it be digital, CD, vinyl, and I guess maybe even a cassette. Yes, limited edition though. All right, so Wheel, like I've stated, they are a German doom metal band, and they are based out of Dortmund, North Rhine-Westphalia, Germany. And I did my best on trying not to butcher that, but I still somehow managed to even wanting to butcher that. Somehow my brain works weird. Okay, so again, formed all the way back in 2006, actually, under the name Eternal Sleep, but then changing their name to Wheel in 2009, and they have been active since. Again, releasing a demo in 2009, then their debut full-length album, which was self-titled, in 2010, and then Icarus in 2013, a live album in 2014, which was live at the Hammer of Doom. 2013 must have been a festival. And then finally here we are with Preserved in Time. So without further ado, let me get in to my thoughts on this album from Wheel. Okay, so before I really give any of my thoughts on this particular album, let's do a track listing rundown. So we have at least about 7 songs, and it all clocks in at 48 minutes and 8 seconds. So these 7 songs are At Night They Came Upon Us, When the Shadow Takes Over, After All, She Left in Silence, Aeon of Darkness, Hero of the Week, that is titled W-E-A-K, yes, it's spelled like that, and then Dedius, or is it Daedalus? Dallas. Okay, I just wanted to really make sure, so I'm getting the whole title correct for this track. So there we go. That pretty much is the last song, and that ends the track listing rundown here. So there we go. There's your 7 songs. All right. So where do I really begin with this album? Well, at least with this band in general, because of I can't remember whether or not if I heard the name Wheel ever get brought up, especially when it comes to any doom metal genre, at least in any threads that is at least dedicated to the doom metal genre in any of the forums that I've been to. So I can't really say I've ever heard of these guys. However, again, since this was a new album and this is under the doom metal sort of genre, since I really got heavily into it some few years ago, and again, I never heard of these guys, and I obviously decided to take a chance with them. And from first listen, this is some really good fucking doom metal. This is really fucking good. Apparently these guys actually get compared to another doom metal band I've never really listened to. That is Solitude Eternus. I hope I spelled their name correctly, or at least said it correctly, but they get compared to them. I've never really heard anything from Solitude Eternus, so I really can't tell you whether or not if Wheel is at least on the same level as them, or if they sound any different. The only thing I heard, I can't remember who described Solitude Eternus as. I think it might have been Scott Waters of, again, Ultimatum and running the No Life Till Metal site, but I can't remember who said it. But someone basically said that Solitude Eternus was basically a Fate's Warning, decided to play straight up Black Sabbath or pentagram-tinged traditional doom metal. And that's kind of what you kind of get here with Wheel, though. So it is very much has that sort of, again, Fate's Warning. Think more, again, and more of the more really slower material from like The Spectre Within or Awaken the Guardian. But again, if it really had that sort of almost Black Sabbath, pentagram, maybe, I'm not going to say Trouble, but maybe Saint Vitus, you know, just that sort of area. Or even The Gates of Slumber is another one too. Or even just some of the other ones as well. Again, just that's really what I kind of get with Will here. It definitely has more of it's so melodic, especially with the vocals, because of it's not. Again, it's not very Ozzy-like. I can't really compare him much to, of course, Bobby Liebling. I know I'm kind of fucking up his name, even though really shouldn't even matter given the guy who he is, even though I love fucking Pentagram. But I can't really compare this guy's vocals to the guy at Pentagram, because of it's so melodic. I wouldn't say it's close to being John Arch of Fate's Warning, but he just has a very melodic tone to his voice. It's so esoteric at times. It's very exotic almost. It's not something you would expect to hear play over this sort of really heavy, almost Sabbath tinged doom metal. I guess if I really had to really compare it to any of the other Black Sabbath stuff, maybe some of the more early 90s, late 80s period. If it really had, I would say early 90s period. Really, I guess stuff like maybe Cross Purposes or Dehumanizer, or maybe even Tear. But again, if it was really trying to go back to the sort of at least maybe stuff like maybe Born Again or Sabotage, maybe even again just that period, if it really had that heaviness, that's the best sort of at least vibe or feel that I get for some of this. But again, with the vocalist that is more melodic, that almost you feel should be fronting more of a straight up, I wouldn't say power metal, but more just maybe symphonic metal. It's just so interesting and different, but it works. The guy works with this. Again, this is my introduction to Wheel, but goddamn, it's good. I mean, just from the opening track, All Night They Came Upon Us. I mean, at night they came upon us. I don't know why I said all night. Still, again, just look over the fact that I said that, okay? Just completely, just forget about whatever it is. Okay, I'm fucking up. Still, just to get back on track here, again, it's just with this beginning song, it starts out heavy, slow, but the way it progresses with each of the song, because it clocks in at 6 minutes and 48 seconds, but Jesus Christ, this is so good. Again, it's slow, heavy, but just has such a esoteric feel to it. Like it almost feels like it's been recorded or played from guys from another different planet. Like it just like, or maybe even fucking aliens decide to travel to fucking Egypt and decide to bring in their freaking electric guitars or build something out of there and just play it. That's the kind of feel that I get from some of this. It's so it's cool. It's doom metal. It sounds like traditional doom metal, but it's played in a unique fashion that I haven't heard. Again, I'm not familiar with Solitude Aeternus, so I can't really say if they're fucking clones of Solitude Aeternus. Even though if I was more familiar with Solitude Aeternus, I still wouldn't use that, because I think in some cases it comes off very unfairly when you use stuff like that, when you say, oh, they're ripping off. Who they're ripping off? They're ripping off. When really, you're kind of either forgetting the point about it, or you're overlooking it, or you just don't want to ever look at some sort of point to begin with. So again, it's just the beginning of it. It's a freaking great track, and as it goes on, it progresses, but it slows down. It gets very spacey, psychedelic almost at times. Very, again, taking in some of that sort of early 70s sort of feel to it too, but it's just done in a way that is more of a homage and doesn't completely, I wouldn't say homage, but it doesn't come off clearly like, oh yeah, we have to sound like fucking 70s. Instead, it actually, it works to it. It's still great fucking songwriting. I like it. And again, right into the next song, again, with When the Shadow Takes You Over. Again, it starts heavy, has that sort of Sabbath feel to it, but it's also really good. But as far as other really good tracks I really dig off of this one, again, After All, She Left in Silence, what is it, Hero of the Week, and then Daedalus. All these songs are great, and again, they're slow, but they're not completely slow. They've got at least a nice sort of mid-pace to them, where it's upbeat, but it's not at least fast. It does have a nice groove going on to some of them, but still, it's not like super slow like you expect with when a lot of those epic doom metal bands. Again, it's very traditional doom metal, but really played in sort of a more of a just more of a progressive metal feel to it at times. Very US progressive metal. It's so interesting and unique, but I love it. I love this stuff. This is actually just a solid doom metal album. And again, each song has its own unique little characters. And again, it might seem samey to some who, again, if you're not a really big traditional doom metal fan, this may not do anything for you. But the thing is, to me, I love this stuff and it does something for me. And the thing is, I can pick out sort of differences between the pacings and the compositions and so on with each of these songs. And they, again, it's so put together. Again, it's very progressive, but it's still doomy, and it still has a nice dirginess to it. And it's, again, the production too, fucking crisp. This is just a really solid doom metal album. I just love it. So there we go. Again, standout songs for me. At Night They Came Upon Us, When the Shadow Takes You Over, After All, She Left in Silence, Hero of the Week, and Dead Alice, I think are all fucking great songs. Actually, the whole entire album is, okay? Trying to pick a personal favorite is going to be a little bit tough, but honestly, to me it is. Because this is so good. Really good album. Again, I can't hype this up enough. I may have to go back and check out their first two, because this is really good. Again, I can compare these guys really also to the Gates of Slumber. So that's where I'm at. Just really good shit. So there we go. There you go. There is my review for Preserved in Time from Wheel, and my rating. Because of, obviously you can tell how much that I have hyped this up so much, and how I'm raving about this during my entire review. You should kind of guess what is going to be my rating score. It is none other than a 10 out of 10. This is a really good, solid, traditional doom metal album, but in a way, done a little, again, played very differently. It is not your typical sort of traditional doom metal album in many of the case. It still has a very nice sort of atmosphere to it that I just love. This is a really solid album. If this sounds like an album that you really want to check out, or you might really be interested in, again, I'm going to leave you a link to their Bandcamp page where you can, again, check this album out, maybe support these guys, and I think you should definitely support these guys. It's just a really good album. So with that, I hope all of you enjoyed. This is Heavy Thrash Head Sam out, and I'll see you all later. Take care, everyone.